Good morning. How's everyone? Hope you're having a good morning so far. Depending on where you're watching from, I've got friends everywhere, so it may be morning, it may be night. You may be watching this on tape, but welcome. This week I'm talking on limiting lies parents believe. Lies that can limit your effectiveness, that can dilute the strength of your parenting muscle, and ultimately can dwarf the potential of our children. And if I can rip the cover off one lie that you're not aware of, or you just need to be reminded, it's worth it all to me. And today I want to talk about someday, the lie of someday, that compound word that can compound our problems, because someday is a lie. Someday I'll review my budget and see if I can quit that second job. Someday I'll sell my business and we can finally retire. Someday, I need to work on my marriage. Date nights sound like a really good plan. Someday I will take seriously looking at what vaccines really are and what's behind them. Someday I need to really work on being that spiritual leader for my home. Someday I'll stop hanging out with her because, she's really not a very good influence on me. And every time I hang out with her, I drink too much and I act funny and I lower my standards. What is your someday? Someday, what do you want? What do you really want? I had friends that would say, I often think about homeschooling. Someday I'm really going to look into that. Someday I'm going to read that book you told me to read. Someday. Someday is a lie, isn't it? And we have to take the bull by the horns and say, what do we want? What do we really want? I know what I want. I want to know my kids and I want to know my grandkids. I want to seize the day and live in the moment. I want to be flexible enough to make changes that need to be made. And I want you to too. Because someday can be a lie that just takes you where you don't want to go and leaves you with a life you didn't mean to live. Someday. My husband always says, a vision without a plan is a fantasy. And nowadays we are so inundated with voices of encouragement and how to be better and, self-improvement. And I hear over and over again, if it's not on the schedule, it's not real. A vision without a plan is a fantasy. Do you have a lot of visions, but really not a clear plan? Life takes over. Time is deceptive. It's just, here we are, almost May. How did it happen? I'm already thinking about Christmas. Like, really? And the older you get, the faster it goes, right? Good intentions don't count. We are people who feel deeply. We feel and we cry and we whine and we dream and we wish and we cross our fingers and we give it to the universe. All that is null and void. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even count. It's not faith. It's not action. It's not real. It's just living in the lie of someday. I don't care how strongly you feel that you want to know your kids or grandkids. I mean, you feel it with everything in you. But if you're not taking specific steps to get there, if it's not on the schedule, it's not going to happen. Chances are it's not going to happen. Oh, hit and miss might work, right? But someday is a lie. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about the fierce urgency of now. Wow, I love that. There is a fierce urgency in now. Because tick-tock, 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 before we know it, the clock has struck midnight and Cinderella's carriage has turned into a pumpkin and she doesn't have her glass slippers anymore. Someday. He contrasted the fierce urgency of now with the the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Just listen to that. Those words just ring so true. The tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Someday. Right? I think you're hearing my heart. Friends, I said this in my book, No Ordinary Child, Unlocking the Leader Within Your Child, and I'll say it again. Desperate measures must begin at birth. As I relate this to parenting, I get so much communication, letters and emails and texts from people who are facing the wheels coming off their kids' lives. They want my advice. They feel distant from their children. They're not sure what happened. They're worried. They would do anything to change it. Anything. I know parents that have spent tens of thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, probably in six figures, to rescue a wayward child. A child they kept thinking, someday I'm going to address that little weed that I see in them. Someday I'm going to take my son to coffee. Someday I'm going to take my daughter shopping. Someday. And suddenly they're spinning their wheels madly, trying to catch up lost time, trying to turn over the sand thing. What's that called? The egg timer? Trying to flip it over in vain. Someday isn't real. We've got to start at birth. We've got to, you young mamas out there that are listening, you young dads that are listening, those of you with grandchildren who've been given a second chance, now is someday. Seize this moment. Seize this moment. Oh, when that child is conceived, when you know you're expecting, that's the time to begin praying over the destiny of that child. That's the time to begin planning. That's the time to begin scheduling. When you see that little one, that's the time to begin taking drastic measures, putting the axe to the root of yesterday, shifting your paradigm. I know you have an amazing job. I know you have the world by the tail. I know you can qualify for anything you want, but that will not be the fruit you'll want to eat in 20 years. Trust me. Parents don't realize at the beginning that the days are long, but the years are short. You have 18 summers, 18. And maybe not even 18, because kids go on overseas study things and they decide to, do college early, and they get so busy that they don't have even time to think of you. It's just the way God made us in maturity and growing in adulthood. But at the most, you have 18 summers where you are pretty much in control. Actually, until maybe you have 12 summers. What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your schedule? How are you putting your dreams on paper right now with steps to take action? Because someday is a lie. One of my favorite little poems is, I call it Wet Cement. And it was written by somebody anonymous, but it says, I took a piece of plastic clay and idly fashioned it one day. And as my fingers pressed it still, it bent and yielded to my will. I came again when the days were past. The bit of clay was hard at last. The form I gave it, still it bore, but I could change that form no more. Then I took a piece of living clay and gently formed it day by day, and molded with my power and art a young child's soft and yielding heart. I came again when the years were gone. It was a man I looked upon. He still that early impress bore, and I could change it nevermore. So true. Before we wake from the chaotic stupor of our fast-paced 21st century lifestyle, our sons and daughters will have passed through and shut youth's door right in our faces, never to open again the innocent days of malleability. Someday is a lie. Someday we have an expiration date on the time we get to mold and shape our children and our grandchildren. There is an expiration date on all of our lives. We're not promised tomorrow. I have a friend that's been given a death sentence that is quite soon. But none of us have been given more than that, according to God's word. We are vapors, here for a little while and gone. What are we doing with today? What are we doing with those things that are malleable in our children, in our relationships, in our marriages with our children and grandchildren? Do you know how many parents are divorced from their kids, essentially, or their kids are divorced from them? Do you know how many grandparents don't know their grandchildren? Do you know how many aunts don't know their nieces and nephews? Do you know how many friends? Someday is a lie. You know, a picture of parenting in the early days, as I look around and everybody's gardening, parenting is gardening, right? Relationships are just like gardening. And my daughter is an avid gardener. I call her a master gardener. She would say I'm boasting, but you know, she's working. She's planting ahead, just like planning ahead, but she's planting ahead. Nobody sees her toil, her work, the seeds under the dirt, the labor, the sweat, the 30 yards of soil, the wheelbarrow runs, the sweat and toil and achy bones and muscles and planning, spending, planning, because come summer, she's going to have the most wonderful fruit to eat. Whatever she decided to plant, she gets to plant it. If she wants mangoes, she plants mango seeds. If she wants cilantro, she plants starter cilantro shoots. If she wants green beans or peas or tomatoes or corn or kale, she's planting that now, right? Same thing. What do you want to eat? What fruit are you looking for in 10 years, 5 years, 20 years? No, plant it, work it, till it, pound it, work it, fertilize it, water it, nurture it, love it, talk to it. You know, we see these little trees and they have these firm bands around them. I mean, they're cruel, right? No movement will be allowed by this little sapling until he matures. But parenting is so much that we have our loving, firm hands fixed on the goal for that child to grow straight and tall to its full capacity, to its complete destiny, right? It's not cruel. It's not cruel to make sure the most absolute greatest potential of that little plant. Cruel is when we allow it to bend and form and be all gnarly and short. You've seen trees like that they're growing toward the ground. We see people like that need a chiropractor. You know, they're all hunched over and they're like bent up 3 times and they're 3 feet tall and 80 years old. I mean, they needed to be firmly held to their course of growth, their growth pattern, right? For optimum health and vibrant life. And that's our kids. We've got to put those bands on our children, those healthy, loving, secure, firm bands so they grow strong and straight and tall and healthy. Start today, friends. Don't wait until it takes amputation to cut that tree and make him go straight. Oh, that's cruel. Luke 8:14 says, "But as we go on our way, we are choked by life's worries, riches, and pleasures." Worries, riches, and pleasures. Worries, riches, and pleasures. And we do not mature. So many times the destinies of our children are eclipsed by worries, riches, and pleasures, aren't they? The things we should be most concerned about, the things that should beat in our hearts most strongly, become drowned and suffocated by worries, riches, and pleasures. God's word is so true. It's not religion, it's truth. It will set us free after it makes us miserable. But it's worth the pain, right? But we easily drown in the Daleys. We just drown, die. Our kids' destinies die in the Daleys. Mortgages and repairs and bills and third cars and insurance and paperwork for school and backpacks and planning and groceries and meals and bottles of liquor and all the stuff of the Daleys. Right? Do you ever wonder when was the last time they put the Legos away? Never to open them again. When was the last time we played Candyland together? If you haven't had those thoughts, you'll have those thoughts. When was the last time I carried little sweetheart across the floor because she couldn't walk on her own? When was the last time they hung on my leg and wanted to go with me? Someday is a lie. Seize today. We think somehow that we're pushing pause, but we don't push pause. We can't push pause. We can push pause on the new room addition. We can push pause on redecorating. We can push pause on that new boat, that Disney vacation. All that crap doesn't really matter. But we can't push pause on our children because they don't wait. And somehow we think they'll wait. I did the same thing in areas of my life. I missed some things because I thought that when I got home, it was still going to be there. Thankfully, if we're intentional and dedicated to Jesus, He fills in our gaps and helps us. You're going to miss something because you're frail and human and fragile and stupid and blind in areas and you don't have eyes in the back of your head all the time. You're going to miss something. But be intentional. Be focused. Ask God. He will put eyes in the back of your head for you at times that save you and save their skin. Believe me. I have a relative who had a perfect work history. No, we're talking to retirement. Did not miss one day of work, right? Woohoo! Okay? Their children were an absolute wreck. The household was a wreck. I spent the night there one time. There were dust balls in the sheets. I'm not exaggerating. Dust balls like you find under the bed were in the sheets because the children were not taught to change their sheets. They looked like ragamuffin orphans, and these people had double income, tons of money. What were they thinking? Their grandchildren are wrecked. Everybody's wrecked. It's a hell-ish existence. But they had a perfect work record and retirement that would boggle the mind. That all went poof when they died of cancer a few months after retirement. I'm saying, what are you trying to take with you? What are you putting off to someday? You can't take your 401k to heaven with you. You can't take your boat, your beautiful property, your amazing destination business. Fill in the blank. Your awesome tennis serve, your golf swing, those investments that are just killing it. Where are you going to take those? The only thing you're going to take with you is relationships. Relationships are the only thing eternal, right? Psalm 90, verse 12 says, "Teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." This is wisdom, friends. This is gold. This is a pearl of great price. Treasure it. Hold it close to your heart. Apply it to your life. Today. Someday is today. Put the axe to the root of the dreams and wishes and whinings and cryings in your pillow and make it happen. I urge you. Make it a wonderful day. Have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow as I address one more lie. Parents believe. Limiting lie that parents believe, okay? God bless you. Visit me at denisemira.com and tell me what you'd like me to talk about on these live sessions. I'm enjoying them. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.